Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna go where people know the people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they can send us to the morgue. Yeah, we are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. Let me shoot you. He can't fucking breathe. Let me shoot you. We are the ones who were born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned.
One night, a man had a dream. He dreamed he was walking along the beach with Sasquatch. Along the way, the sky flashed scenes from his life. For each scene, he noticed two sets of footprints in the sand, one belonging to him and the other belonging to Sasquatch. When the last scene of his life flashed before him, he looked back at the footprints in the sand and noticed that Only during the saddest times of his life were there one set. So he turned to Sasquatch and he asked, Sasquatch, you said once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I've noticed during the most troublesome times in my life, there's only one set of footprints. I don't understand. When I needed you the most, why was I alone? And Sasquatch turned to him and said, Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I Am No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, we have got a glorious panel here with me to break down the shit talking and shenanigans, the fight announcements and fuckery that has trickled out the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. But before we get into all of that, first and foremost, gentlemen, how the hell are you doing over there?
Living the dream on about 4.5 hours of sleep today. So we're doing.
I know that feels.
Sounds about right. I'm pretty tired myself. Not really looking forward to the fights this weekend, but we've got fights.
That is the key. It might not be the greatest, but we got fights. That being said, we will get into everything you need to know about and more here in just a little bit. I, of course, am your hostess with the mostest, the meter. The meter does many things if you are nasty. So to kick things off the way we like to around here, we will jump into a little bit of news and recent events, things that are relevant, fight confirmations, fight cancellations, things in the MMA world we feel that you need to know about here. So first and foremost, kicking down, unfortunately, next weekend's door. Last weekend's card, the UFC Seattle card, was almost completely shaken top to bottom by injuries. This weekend's upcoming card, we've got the main event that has been shaken up by injuries. There's a couple other fights as well. Next weekend's UFC 313 card is already starting to be plagued by injuries in some of the worst ways possible. So since we saw you wonderful folks last, unfortunately, we got word that Dan Hooker has officially fractured his hand and is out of the fight against Justin Gaethje in the co-main event next weekend. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, they have found a late notice replacement to step in to keep the 5-round co-main event in place. The replacement is going to be the rematch that no one asked for against Rafael Fiziev. Apparently, Armand was suggested originally, but Armand is too heavy right now because he's out of camp and he would only be able to make a catch weight of 160. UFC didn't want to do that. Charles Oliveira got offered the fight, but he is completely out of camp right now and couldn't even make anything close to 155 in a week's time. Turns out Fiziev was the man who could make the weight and show up on time, and he got the call. So it is official. We are getting the rematch that no one really needed next weekend for the UFC co-main event in 313. It sucks, but it is what it is at this point. We'll see exactly how good of a fight it actually is going to be as we get a little closer to next week and we get a little closer glimpse of both gentlemen. That being said, a couple weeks out from here, April 12th, down in Miami, UFC 314 has had a couple of additions added to it this week. The first one, Tresean Gore finally getting back in action against Marco Tulio, hopefully for some walking papers for the loser, or maybe even the winner in both. You never know. But the big one, the one that everyone is paying attention to, there's a reason that fighters will tell you, always have a name ready. Being a company man can only carry you so far. If you want to climb the ladder, always have a name ready, because if you get a microphone put in front of you, you should be able to call your shot. It's one of the reasons, why Joaquin Buckley's bullshit callouts got a lot of lambast, but also got respect from fighters because it got people talking about his callout. Once people talked about it, then he became a little more realistic and made his real call out. So it was a little bit stupid to do it the way that he did it, but he got people's attention and he got his actual call outs made, and he got most of them. Gene Silva went out and just absolutely massacred his way through my boy Milky Baghdad Sharky Man, and then turned around and called out Bryce Mitchell. And sure the fuck enough, Dana White himself confirmed yesterday that sure, UFC 314 down in Miami, take place in a couple weeks. Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva is officially on, and they have already started talking shit to each other on Twitter. If you haven't seen it yet, just chef's kiss 10-8 by John Silva right out the gate. I'm saying it now. Good work on his social media as well as his call out. So got what he asked for. Just a couple weeks later, I'm telling you, those fighting nerds, the gentlemen from the fighting nerds, are a fucking serious problem, and John Silva seems to be leading the way right up the charge. We got official confirmation from the UFC this week, even though it's been news for a couple of weeks now. It officially was confirmed this week. April 26th will be UFC Fight Night Kansas City once again. Tickets go on sale next weekend, so we will see and cross our little fat fingers that they do not go for astronomical fucking prices. But we have got several of the fights announced, including, like we talked about recently, the retirement fight for Anthony Smith versus Ming Zhang. And now we have got our main event, the fight that was originally scheduled for 302 and then 306 and got canceled both times due to one side or the other. They are giving it as the main event for Kansas City. We're talking about Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree Jr. The Kansas City card is stacking up pretty nicely. As long as they don't make those tickets like $300 fucking dollars, that might actually be a pretty damn nice fight night once again. A couple weeks after Kansas City, the week after Kansas City, May 3rd is officially now going to be UFC Des Moines, Iowa. Not the main event, but the first big fight announced for the card so far has officially been Mario Batista versus Chito Vera. Kind of an interesting stall for both gentlemen there, but as far as rankings go, a good matchup in my opinion here. That being said, the week after that, UFC 315, May 10th from Montreal, got a trio of very interesting fights added to it here. The first one, there were rumors. They have officially been confirmed. The homeboy is officially fighting at home once again. Mike Malott will go to Montreal to take on Charles Ratke. That man is undefeated in Canada, I believe, as far as UFC trips go. So Ratke better eat his fucking Wheaties. Another interesting one here, Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Jessica Andrade. Hopefully winner and loser get walking papers, but we'll see how that goes. But then the biggest of the three announcements, and also in my opinion the strangest of the three, Ayman Sahabi fighting on Canadian soil against Jose Aldo. I don't understand why the UFC has went from talking about Jose Aldo as the King of Rio to hating him since he moved down to bantamweight, even though he's looked fucking fantastic since he's been there. But they have just absolutely given him the worst or least favorable fucking matchups that they possibly could since he came down to the new division. This being another one of those included, in my opinion. Not cool, but Jose's going to Jose, so he's going to show up and he's going to do work, and I'm fucking here for it anytime Jose Aldo steps into the cage. Excuse me. Final fight announcement here. August 1st, One Championship event number 173 taking place in Denver, Colorado on Amazon Prime. The atomweight title will officially be unified. Stamp Vertex is healed and will be taking on Denise Zamboanga to unify the interim and standing title. And that is one of the greatest ladies fights scheduled this year, in my opinion, including Valentina versus Manon. This fight genuinely might be more exciting than Valentina versus Manon will. And the winner of this fight will absolutely have bigger implications because there is a much larger atomweight division over in one than there is a strawweight division or a flyweight division in the UFC, for damn sure. That being said, we got a little more to the story here. A couple months back, Kamel Otan, the last man to knock out Alex Pereira, got his chance to compete on Dana White's Contender Series, and then literally as the broadcast was getting ready to start, said he, quote unquote, got an anxiety attack and couldn't go out and had to pull out of the fight, or before weigh-ins, rather. They ended up finding a replacement. He was never offered another chance on the Contender Series. Obviously, Dana White went off on him, as he should have. Well, turns out it wasn't exactly an anxiety attack that made the gentleman run away from the Dana White Contender Series matchup. He has officially now been suspended for 18 months because they caught him from his pre-competition sample testing positive for clomiphene. Confirmed by the backup tests, he was going to piss hot, and he knew it because they actually do test in the UFC, and even on Contender Series level, they still fucking test. And he apparently tried to piss a hole through the side of the cup. He was so hot. They said that it was, I believe the phrase was uniquely elevated levels, which means that he wasn't just doing a little bit, he was going off the fucking deep end with it, and he was trying to melt the testing cup. So, you know, this ain't one of those situations where you share a vape with somebody who just took some Tyrannobol, you know, like we had a couple weeks ago. But this is definitely a weird one to say the least. So, needless to say, that gentleman's future is pretty much over at this point. Last one I've got here. It happens every couple weeks throughout the year. Usually it's alerted by UFC Roster Watch, the Twitch bot that catches any changes in the actual official roster, then will be confirmed by UFC staff. We got the latest list of releases. That's a weird combination. UFC has officially parted ways with Matthew Selmasberger, Mashraban Rizuboyev, Taylor Lapilus, Jonathan Pierce, Josh Kulibau, and Cody Stamen. All of them either finished out their contract and were not renewed, or were officially released by the UFC with no explicit reason given, but the roster just got that much lighter. And considering they just picked up Austin, they just picked up Pitbull, they just picked up several other free agencies and are in the process of trying to acquire Aaron Pico and a few others. It's a bad time to have a bad record in the UFC right now because the talent pool is getting shaken up. So generally speaking, the best ability to have in combat sports is availability. Right now, not so much. You have to be able to do the damn thing. You can't just be available anymore. And that is a good thing for everyone. That being said, that is what I have got for news over here this week. Do either one of you gentlemen have anything that I might have missed this week?
Nope. One of those weeks where you covered everything, and I really didn't pay attention to too much news other than all of the matchups and then, of course, the releases as well. One I knew was there because we were told about it the second he fucking missed the fight, and then the old Jedi himself will leave, and that was kind of weird because he's kind of like that low-level can that just stuck around for a while.
Yeah, he's been real back and forth, but apparently they were done with his back and forth. And
I guess if you want to trim fat, you could trim other fat. I mean, I know one of the guys they fucking released was he was 2-1 in his last 3 fights, and they still let him go. I was like, all right, well, but I guess if you're not exciting and you're just a boring decision machine, that's another thing. You can be a decision machine as long as you're not fucking boring about it.
Right. Well, that, and you also have to remember, we've got the Ultimate Fighter with Chael and fucking DC coming up. So there's going to be at least, 4 more fighters coming in there on low contracts. Dana White's Contender Series is getting ready to start a whole nother season again. So you got to figure at least 5 to 10 more people from there coming in on $10,000 and $12,000 contracts. So there's a dozen plus people that they're going to bring on absolute bottom tier contracts. It's going to save them a whole bunch of money. So when they're cutting guys that are on a 2-1 run, I get it. It sucks, but I get it.
And I forget which guy it was. I should have fucking taken notes on it. But the guy, he had been previously cut already in 2016, I think it was. And he was on a 2-1 run then. And then when they brought it back and he had another 2-1, they're like, be gone. So I was like, all right. Apparently, they just brought him on for 3 and said, "See you later. We're not interested in re-signing." Because it wasn't they cut him; it was his contract ended. They just
Right.
chose not to re-up.
Yeah.
UFC gonna UFC like that sometimes.
Instead, we get nonsensical fighters that win fights that they really shouldn't, and
Right.
now we're stuck with them and their
Right.
terrible fucking haircuts.
And their bullshit haircuts and stupid throat tattoos. Anyway. So that being said, before I forget again, like I do all the goddamn time, we're actually going to go right to the combat sports menu for this week before I fucking forget. So, as I say every week, yes, we might run our show predominantly around the UFC schedule, but so does every other combat sports organization in most combat sports. So, that being said, there is much more than just the UFC on pretty much every weekend, this being no exception to that. This weekend, your combat sports menu, as it does most weekends, kicks off bright and fucking early. First thing tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, with one Friday Night Fights number 98 from over in Lupinmi Stadium in Bangkok, Thailand. We have only got 2 MMA fights. They've done this the last couple of weeks. The 2 MMA fights open the card, and then the entire rest of the card is just Muay Thai in 4-ounce MMA gloves, and it is fucking spectacular. So if you need combat sports with your coffee tomorrow morning, one's got you covered. After that, tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Karate Combat number 53. Brandon Allen, coming fresh off of licking the wounds of his loss in the UFC, is going to be taking on Chao Barallo in a submission-only grappling match on Karate Combat in the pit. They've been doing a lot more of those lately. This is kind of an interesting one. I believe it is a quote-unquote open weight, even though they are both middleweights. Obviously, Brandon is coming off of just coming out of a fight. Chao is not in camp right now, so it's assumed that he's going to be a little larger than normal. And if nothing else, in the co-main event, Robelis D'Espana is being offered up another lamb to slaughter for the gods of combat sports. And I don't think that fight's going to last more than a single minute long. I'm telling you right now. So definitely fun to be had tomorrow evening over on the Karate Combat side of things. If that's not your cup of tea, or maybe you want something a little more violent than that, that's all right, because 9 p.m. tomorrow evening Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Standard tomorrow evening, BKFC Albuquerque kicks off. You know damn well that they always bring it when they come to Albuquerque. There is a Dotson brother in there. There is a Mercier on that card, as always. Kyle McElroy is on that card and literally slapped his opponent at the fucking weigh-in this afternoon. So there's always interesting things to be had when BKFC comes to Albuquerque. So that'll hold you on tomorrow evening. That brings us over to Saturday. Saturday, early afternoon card, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time kickoff for what was originally going to be a great night. Now we've got a fight night in Manel Kape versus Asu Almabayev. We'll talk more about that card in a minute. But if that's not your cup of tea, fret not, because that's not the end of the weekend. I say it every goddamn time, and I will of course say it again this time. I am far from a boxing expert, but the people that I know that know boxing are telling me once again, pay fucking attention, because Saturday evening, Tank Davis is getting back in the ring, and he's got a point to fucking prove here. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Saturday evening. That card will kick off. They're saying the main event will probably walk around 10:30 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you're just looking for the big one, wait till later. But the people that I know that know boxing are telling me that Tank is going to give this kid the ass whooping of its fucking lifetime. And I'm here for it. I love a good boxing match. I generally hate when they get the bullshit out there, but the main events lately have been pretty fucking interesting. So I am here for it. That being said, that will bring us to the point where, if you've been watching combat sports as long as some of us have been watching combat sports, you start to know what you like to watch and when it comes on and how to watch it. And inevitably, you develop a set of metaphorical blinders, if you will. You start to lose the forest for the punchy kicking trees.
Luckily for us here on the show, we've got ourselves a bona fide young person that's out there diligently and delicately fingering the pulse of the MMA world to help keep us abreast of all the names that are going to be names before they are names in a little segment that we call Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
Appreciate you, brother. Like I always like to do, you start with the trash. I mean, you just throw the whole card in the trash for the most part, right? But we gotta fucking shine some light on some shit, or at least I always try to. Let me try to fucking be positive here. There are a few young kids on this card I am actually excited for. A couple of fights I'm looking forward to, but for the most part, it's fucking trash. Andrea Lee, JJ Aldrich, that fight as a whole can easily fucking throw in the trash. JJ Aldrich is the one that like had a sliver of potential in my opinion, but the girl is just a decision machine. She's literally had 3 fucking finishes her whole career out of 20 pro fights. Kind of rough. Andrea Lee, 5 fucking losses in a row. Don't even understand why the fuck she's still in there. Boyfriend fucking got kicked out quite a while ago for being a racist fuck. Like, yeah, it's just questionable shit there. Not going to be a good fight at all. I got Cody Brundage and fucking Austin Lane, a couple dudes just thrown in there. Brundage is always tried, right? He's that what I would call the journeyman kind of fighter. The dude can get some finishes. He has gotten some finishes in his wins, but he's not a great fighter. Let's just be the honest truth. That fight as a whole isn't going to be great, but I'm always going to root for the guys from Missouri. So Cuban Missile Crisis, Julian Marquez, his weakness, in my opinion, has always been his gas tank. He's get or get got. He's damn sure got some power behind his fucking hands.
I have to disagree. His weakness, I hate to have to be the one to say it, his weakness is Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, I'm just,
it's literally cost him 2 fights now. So,
Miley Cyrus or not, his gas tank definitely, hopefully is something that he's worked on. Because I don't necessarily think that he lacks the toughness. He's been cracked a couple times in that 3-loss streak he's on here, but he doesn't lack the toughness. I feel like he's lacked cardio in some of these situations to allow him to stay in it instead of just sit there and keep fucking eating shots. But yeah, I definitely feel like Marquez, he's one of my contenders. Throwing him and Luana Carolina on the contender spot this week. Carolina's got a 3-fight winning streak. The roughest moment of her career was the knockout she had against Molly. It is what it is at this point. She's on the 3-fight winning streak. The girl's still got some potential. She keeps stringing them together. She can work her way to true contention. So she's kind of on the fence for me. Marquez really. The rest of the shit you got to throw in the trash. So, like I had mentioned, Austin Lane, that dude, fucking like 37 years old, one fucking decision win in his career so far. Dude ain't worth a damn. Probably gonna get doinked here this weekend, and I'm gonna be excited to see that. You got Montana De La Rosa. I throw her in the trash. She's been back and forth her whole career. You got the Silva de Andrade and John Castaneda fight. You just throw that one in the trash as a whole. It's 2 dudes that have been extremely back and forth their whole fucking career, have never really done anything special, and I don't think that fight is going to be anything special either. And the last one, Manel Kape. Throw that motherfucker in the garbage because of the fact boring ass fight we had last year between him and Mokaev, all the bullshit leading up to it, them acting like they were going to really do something. They get in the fight, do nothing. And Mokaev, he just fought his contract out, and they didn't re-sign him. Why the fuck? Just everything with Manel Kape has done his whole career, not just the shitty human being and all the shit he talks, but the missing weight as many times as he has, the pulling out of fights for one fucking reason or another. This dude's fucking trash. Just because he can knock people out at flyweight doesn't fucking mean you keep him around. You didn't fucking keep the young undefeated fucking kid that's actually well rounded. So whether he fucking put on the boring performance and caused some bullshit or not, still asinine, makes no fucking sense to me. You would want the undefeated young kid compared to the jackass that's fucking in his mid-30s fucking shit up every time he fucking gets out there. It might just fuck shit up again this week. Like, just be honest. This motherfucker might miss weight. We might not even have a main event. We just know how he is. So got to throw that fucker in the trash. But the contenders to look forward to on the swing of that, Almabayev, man, he's for sure a fucking contender. I've already been excited for this kid with his first few fights in the UFC. At this point, he's really got a huge opportunity because Cop's dumbass is ranked in the top 10. You go out there and beat his ass, you're throwing yourself in the top 10. You're getting some big fights after this. He's definitely going to shoot him up. It's big time excitement. The kid has some submission potential. His last couple fights have gone to decision, but he's damn sure shown some ability even on the feet. So I'm excited to see what he does. You got Danny Barlow and Sam Patterson. This is one fight that I got some excitement for just because Sam Patterson, after losing his debut, has come back and got some finishes in his last two. The motherfucker gets it to the ground. He's probably taken Danny Barlow out. Haven't seen much of Danny Barlow's ground game and don't know if he's real strong there. He's undefeated and he's got some fucking power in his hands. Respect for him as well. Winning his last fight, whether it was a decision or not, wasn't the greatest fight. He had a broken arm. Went into the fight with a broken arm, saying fuck it like a crazy motherfucker because he needed some fucking money. We got respect there. The kid's definitely also shown some shit that he's got to work on, but we're looking forward to that fight. Two young kids both have some future potential. You got Chepe Mariscal. I feel like he's on the verge of being a contender. He keeps stringing them together. He'll get himself there. He'll get a fight towards the top 15. He's had some decent moments. He's at least shown that he's a tough guy. He goes out there and puts it out. Like I said, just the 4 fights in the UFC, won every one of them. You keep stringing them together, you're going to get yourself up there. Danny Silva is a young kid I'm looking forward to. Looked pretty good in his debut. We're really looking forward to seeing him fight some better guys. Lucas Almeida is not the greatest, but the kid's 28 years old. He got a handful of knockouts in his career. Excited to see what he can do in his second fight in the UFC. Start stringing some together. You got the Hyder Emil and William Gomi fight. It's one of those that could be a decent fight. William Gomi is more on the contender side to me than Emil. Emil's mid-30s and just won a couple of decent fights against low-level competition since he came in here. But Gomi is beating some other contenders, right? Like he's not looked horrible. He's just not been finishing guys. But beating Francis Marshall, Joe Anderson, Brito in his last couple, it feels weird why he's even getting this Emil kid in the first place. I know he's undefeated and shit, but it's a weird placement there. Yeah, Gomi's more the one to keep the eye out on. You got Ribovics. I mean, maybe you throw the fight in there. Nasrat Haqparast has won 4 in a row. He's still 29 years old. The dude's shown that he's got some toughness. I don't think he's got a very high ceiling, though. So, like, Ribovics is my contender. Kids coming in the UFC, knocking out Terrence McKinney. He's had some fucking good moments already. Excited to see how he does this weekend against a dude that is on a little bit of a winning streak. And the last fucking one that I got for my contenders, Charles Johnson. I'm excited for the fight as a whole. The Tamarov kid coming in, he's got. Honestly, Tamarov's got more potential to be a contender. I'll just be honest with you. 28 years old, so he's a lot younger. He's got a good record, 18-3, making his fucking second appearance. He fought CJ Vergara, knocked him out. That's what you should do, fighting a guy like CJ Vergara. But he's got 11 fucking knockouts in his 12 finishes. So Tamarov definitely coming in, but I'm still going to give the love to all the Missouri guys. Fucking Charles Johnson, whether you fucking think he's genuinely decent or not, 10 fucking fights already in 2 years in the UFC. Dude's been one of the most active fucking fighters. And he knocked out Josh Van. He's had a couple of fucking decent moments. Like he did cause Muhammad Mokaev some issues when he first got into the UFC, even if he lost the fight to a close decision. The dude's had some moments. He's mainly gone to decision. He hasn't been as fucking exciting as I feel like he could be, right? In the sense of rooting for Missouri guys, he's got more potential than what he's fucking shown. He looked a lot better on the regional scene to get himself in there, was knocking dudes out left, right, and center on the regional scene, and has been in a lot of close fucking decisions since he got to the UFC. So he doesn't have a high ceiling, in my opinion, but he's fun as hell. He's active as hell. I always root for the Missouri guys. If he keeps stringing them together, that's the other thing. He's got a winning streak going for him now. He's 4 in a row. This will be his 5th in a row. Kid making his debut. It's nobody special, right? But if you keep stringing them together, they're going to have to give him somebody in the top 15. So he's got the ability to work his way to contender just because he's staying active. We'd like to see him fucking really break through and start knocking some motherfuckers out and showing some of that true potential. But like I said, just like Julian Marquez, man, being on the contender spot, he's got that potential, in my opinion, to bump his way back up. Middleweight's not the greatest. It's been getting a little better. There's some fucking contenders working their way up, but Marquez could fucking work his way back in the picture. We just had RoboCop fucking get a main event against Jared Cannonier. So Marquez bounces back from this losing streak he's on. He's got it too. So we're rooting for both the Missouri guys. It's the bias on Charles Johnson. I know you guys probably ain't fucking giving Charles Johnson worth a dick. But I always fucking try to be positive and optimistic for him, even though I was honest. The dude has just put out some decisions and hasn't shown the full fucking potential. You could throw him in the contender spot more than the fucking contender, but I like the fact he's been active. He goes out there, he does fucking get it. So, like to hear what you boys got. I know you both will agree most of it's shit. There's a couple of young kids to be excited for.
My question, is it March 8th yet? Because the March 1st card ain't it. Look, I've said this way more times than I want to continue to say it. Can we stop having fight cards every fucking weekend? Not because I don't enjoy watching fights, but it's the caliber of fights that we're missing. Like, look, I get it. You got to get people to gain some sort of star power somehow. But by putting cans on cans on cans all the time, it's hard to get excited about this. Like, I don't, and I love fucking MMA, but it's just hard to go, there's all of this all matters. No. 99% of this card does not matter. It's all stuff that could be done on a fucking Friday night. Let's get some Friday night light fights, some fucking Thursday fucking MMA specials. Stop putting everything on a goddamn Saturday and wasting my Saturday evening where I could be fucking doing something else. Unless it's a pay-per-view or a really solid fucking card. Or my favorite is, here, we'll put a solid fucking Saturday card together that's not a pay-per-view, but we're going to make it at the most inconvenient time because we're going to put it in Saudi Arabia and do it by their time, or we're going to put it in fucking Australia and do it in their time. Nobody fucking cares when that happens, but just keep making decent fucking cards. Stop stuffing all the bullshit on a Saturday and going, oh, well, we're giving you fights every Saturday. Look, the NFL's got to figure it out. 17 fucking season regular game, and that's it. We shouldn't have more than 17 main cards in a fucking year. You want to throw the other cards together? Like I said, do them Wednesdays, Thursdays, fucking Fridays. Don't care. Don't fuck up my Saturdays with this bullshit. And I say fuck up my Saturdays because I'm still going to fucking watch them 90% of the time. About 95% of the time. There are a few things that get in the way of that, but, for the most part, that is what it is. So, is it March 8th yet? Is the beginning of this nonsensicalness. I'm trying my damnedest to find something on this card that makes me go, oh my God, I need to sit down and watch this or make it worth my while to watch. And to be honest, I can skip the entirety of the prelims. And to be honest, I still don't understand. Why do we have fucking prelims on a goddamn fight night card? We shouldn't have them. It's just one fucking card of bullshit. Anyhow, the only one I would want to tune in for is to watch Mario Pinto come in and knock the ever-living piss out of Austin Lane. The only good thing that ever came out of Austin Lane was him giving his son a pep talk after his half-assed fucking win. And to that, you get credit. Because you know what? Talk your kids up. feed into that notion of they can do whatever the fuck they want to as long as they put into work. I appreciate that, especially as a parent. As a fighter, I don't appreciate him at all. Just because you're not that fucking guy. He's just not. He's just he's just somebody that they're throwing in there to fill a spot right now. He hasn't shown any potential at all. I am on board with what I'm gonna call my contender fight, and that's Danny Barlow and Sam Patterson. Because I honestly don't know how that's gonna work out. And either one of those guys right now, based on what they're doing, have the ability to become a contender. But this fight can also show us if they're fucking can. So I'm gonna call the fight as a whole a contender fight. And I know a lot of people aren't gonna like this opinion. I think William Gomez has some fucking potential. Albeit he's looked a little slow in his first 3 fights in the UFC. A decision, 1 submission, and a split decision win. We know he can finish a fight because he's gotten the submission there. So we know it can happen. But he's doing very well as a young prospect fighter. I can't call him a contender, but I will call him as a young prospect. He's doing well. Do I think he could turn it up a notch? Yeah, he's young enough to do it. And I'm gonna go on fucking Nasser Hakprost fucking thing here. He is my contender as a whole. Because there's been some flashes of absolute fucking brilliance from him. But then there's other days it leaves you scratching your head going, what the actual fuck are you doing here? He is the epitome of the contender on this. If he can string some stuff together and get back to what he looked like when he initially came in to the UFC, he looked like he had the possibility of being a world breaker. But we haven't seen that lately. And I think Esteban Rijovic is a little bit overhyped. Not gonna lie. Look, just because you fucking KO'd Terrence McKinney, I love T-Rex. But T-Rex is a get or got motherfucker because he keeps his hands down a lot when he's fighting. Not hard to figure out. Throw a fucking head kick and bam, somebody goes to sleep. Just that fucking easy. Am I saying he's doesn't have potential? No. Ribovic has some potential, but I don't think he's cracked up to everything everybody thinks he is. I think this is going to be his actual first real good test is against Nasrat, because Nasrat is kind of that guy that he's a good litmus test for them. That's the best way to put it. Goddamn co-main event. Miley Cyrus having ass motherfucker Julian Marquez. Look, I jumped on the Julian Marquez Cuban Missile Crisis train way too fucking early, all because of a post-fight interview. And look, I can't be mad at a guy for shooting his shot. I really can't. But since that post-fight interview, he's looked like absolute dog shit. It just took fucking nosedive. Get your mind off the Miley Cyrus. Get your mind out of fucking playing disc golf. Because if I see one more disc golf video out of this cocksucker while he's fucking supposed to be in fight camps, to be honest, I can't even call him a contender. Right now, he's on that, yeah, no, dude, you need to prove something. You're fucking, right now, you're a can until you do prove something otherwise. Because the way he came in like a fucking, look, you know what happened? He was fucking Icarus. He flew too close to the goddamn sun and burnt himself clean the fuck out. So what happens when you call Miley Cyrus out after a goddamn fight. You don't listen to somebody who smokes 10 packs a day and sounds like that. Feel free, but hey, flew too close to the sun. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. There's a reason why we always say, we'll see how that works out for him. It's a bold strategy. Cody Brundage is another fucking can. So that fight as a whole, can't. Vanilla Cape, just don't like the motherfucker. He's an absolute fucking garbage human being. Talks too much shit and does not do anything that's that exciting to say that he still belongs in the top 10, in my opinion. I really don't think so. I can't wait for Asu Almabayev to come in there and just fucking beat the brakes off that motherfucker. I hope he strangles him so bad, it takes him out of the fucking gene pool. Yeah. Umbaya definitely getting my contender spot here. Then Cape is definitely getting the can. It's just that easy. Yeah, that's how I feel. And like I said, the main card's really not that great, but there's at least a couple to talk about. The prelims, there's not a goddamn thing for me to talk about on that. That's just one dumpster fire after another.
So I've got to say, for the record, I have nothing against Charles Johnson as a fighter. That stupid fucking haircut he insists on having is my problem with Charles Johnson. Because if you want to be the inner G, you're not going to do it with a baby bump on the back of your goddamn neck like that. This ain't the 90s and you ain't a fucking wrestler. Shave that motherfucker off or grow it out. Pick a fucking lane here. I can't deal with that shit. I can't fucking do it. I can't fucking do it. I can't fucking do it. That being said, I am also stubborn enough that I'm going to row that Montana De La Rosa boat until it hits the goddamn rocks and splinters beneath me. I swear to God, somewhere in that fucking girl is the potential to actually fucking do this. And for whatever reason, every time she starts to get her shit together, she hits the hard reset button and forgets what the fuck she just spent the last 6-8 months working on and goes back to fucking square one. It's infuriating, but I've seen enough of the fucking potential in that girl. Luana Carolina has definitely made a hell of a fucking bounce back since that bullshit that she got caught with from fucking Molly. Absolutely agreed. But I still think that Montana De La Rosa has what it takes to at least crack top 10 in this fucking division here. She just has to buckle down and stop listening to her fucking husband, who is the can of all fucking cans and isn't in UFC anymore for a fucking reason. Work on your striking and ignore your husband. That's it. Montana can be great again. I have fucking 100% confidence. I'll row that boat till we crash on the fucking shore. That being said, this card needs some fucking milk for damn sure. Like, this card needs Cheez-Its. Like, whoo, this is one of the most contractual obligation-y cards we have seen in a long fucking time. But there are some interesting ones in here. I agree 100% with TJ here. Nasrat Hotcross is infuriating in the very same fucking way that Montana De La Rosa is, because you have seen those fucking glimpses of, hey, they can fucking do this, and followed almost immediately by, why did they tie their shoes together and then try and go for a jog? What the fuck is wrong with you? We've seen it from both of them now. Ribovich got a clean shot off on T-Rex, but it wasn't like he was doing anything special to do that. We know T-Rex is a get or get got dude. T-Rex wants to go forward. They've been playing that fucking replay on the UFC social media all fucking week. You can watch the clip. He didn't do anything special. T-Rex had his fucking hands down and he landed a well-timed shot. Bravo. Calm the fuck down. I think this fight has potential to be very fun. I can't guarantee it because both of these guys are kind of thing, but I think the fight as a whole is a good contender. What I will say, Nasrat Hotcross might be, to borrow a phrase from the MMA Fighting Boys, the contenderest contender we have ever had contender here on the show. That dude has had so many of those. He could do it. He can't fucking do it. He could do it. He can't do it moments. It gives you hand cramps. So the fight's going to be interesting. Whether it's good or not, that's another story. I don't remember the last time genuinely that I rooted so fucking hard for an unknown walrus to come in and do his fucking slapping as I am for Mario Pinto right now. I don't understand how Austin Lane is still in the UFC to have had his motivational speech after his last fight. I could have sworn Dana White had said at least on one or two occasions that he was consistently unimpressed with Lane and was going to let him go. Hopefully Mario Pinto can give us the highlight reel motivation that Dana needs to let this fucking can go and at least bring some kind of life back to the heavyweight division here for us. I will say the one prelim fight I am genuinely curious about is that premier prelim, that Chepe Mariscal versus Ricardo Ramos. Both of those dudes are just so, I don't fucking know what to think about either one of them. They're not quite contenders, but they're not quite cans, and I can't call either of them full contenders because they're both at 17-6 records, but they're both fairly young guys, and it's like, that's either going to be the most boring 15 minutes of this whole card or the most exciting 54 seconds of the evening. I think is the best way that I can describe what that fight has got me feeling like right now. That being said, though, the fucking, I don't even want to talk about the co-main event because at this point I'm tired of the fucking bullshit with both of them. It's literally come down to, what have you done for me lately? Like, if you can do something impressive Saturday, I'm willing to consider still watching either one of those gentlemen in the co-main event. But if we get a boring 15-minute bullshit match from those two, cut them fucking both and let's just be done with it already. Rip the fucking Band-Aid off. That being said, main event. I genuinely do not understand why they kept Manel Kape in this main event. Aside from all the bullshit he has done outside of the cage, the amount of times he has missed weight, the amount of bullshit fouls he has committed in the cage, the amount of nonsense he has done just as an employee of the UFC should have been more than enough that when the other half of that main event fell out, he should have been pulled from the card or moved down in the rankings to fight Almabayev and let someone worthy of a main event spot take that fucking main event. I still think there is a damn good chance that Almabayev comes in there and just flatlines this big mouth fuck stick. Because as far as I'm concerned, Manel Kape can eat a bag full of unwashed assholes with no Listerine and then do his next interview. He can fight right off a fucking cliff and I would not feel bad. As far as fighters go, he's actually not the worst though. And that's part of the fucking problem. He is far from a good fighter. Far from a good fighter. He doesn't even deserve to be in the conversation with the top 5 of the division, in my opinion. But he's not a full can yet. If Asu can come out this weekend and just steamroll him and either just beat the absolute shit out of him for 25 minutes or flatline him in 20 fucking seconds and just give us the chama. Either way, I think that can get what little hype Manel still has washed the fuck off of his useless ass and let Almabayev absorb at least a little bit of it and do us all a genuine favor. And that's I'm crossing every fucking thing on my body that I can cross until it starts to fucking cramp, hoping for that shit.
Boys definitely helped say it the best that we could. Some Carter shit. We got a few fucking shining lights. Hopefully it's like last week. I think it's gonna be shit. Get surprised. I appreciate you, boys.
Thank you very much, sir. Always appreciated. So that will bring us to the point in the show where the only segment we have that requires its own individual disclaimer. So if you will, Tapology.com does not in any way, shape, or form support, sponsor, or endorse the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology does offer you the option to go onto their website, create a free account, and make fantasy-style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups. So we made one. It's called ImNoBookie, all one word, or Group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are welcome and encouraged. Make yourself an account. Join the group. Let us know who you are, and we will hold your picks accountable with our picks in a little segment that we call Tapology with TJ.
And we're fucking back from last week's nonsense. To last week's nonsense, though, there were some surprising amount of finishes, which I will say surprising amount, because it was way more than I was fucking expecting. Well, we're gonna jump into last week's top and bottoms here. Unfortunately, there's some motherfuckers did not get their picks in again. We need to have a little talk with them about, hey, we need to get shit done, especially knowing that we have the Joe spring fucking session coming into play. Was it this fucking week? I think is the start of it, if I remember correctly, this weekend. So if you're listening live or just listening to the replay on YouTube before Saturday, come on to Tapology. It's free. I know you motherfuckers like free, otherwise you wouldn't be listening. Join Tapology. Join ImNoBookie, the group, or Group 965, whichever way is easiest for you to get into it. Let one of us know you're in the group, and we'll get you a message, and you can get into the 2025 Spring Grand Prix that we've got going on here.
There's an even easier way. If they click the link that's running down below the scroller or the down in the description, wherever they are getting this, and go over on the ImNoJoe Discord channel, there is a link directly to this tournament. You could just click the link and it takes you right to the invite page, and you can accept your invite and join right from there.
Well, there you go. Now you got another free, easy option. Free is the key word here. It's not costing you anything to join us. However, to those assholes who forget to make their picks, Lucas and Don, get shit together, boys. Fucking time. The Grand Prix is coming. You got to be there every fucking weekend. What are we doing? 6 or 8 weeks on this one? Or eight events? So it's 2 months worth of events where you have to make sure you get them in every week, because otherwise you end up at the bottom and there's no climbing back if you miss a fucking week, because that's a lot of points you miss out on. I mean, you could in theory, but you'd have to pick perfect like the other 7 fucking weeks, and pray to God nobody else picks perfect. But you know, Donna fucking snuck one by me at the end of the fucking night last week. Ends up taking the top spot. Congratulations to her. She had one more decision correct than me, and fucking that was all it took. That was that 25-point difference between first and second place. So well done, Donna, on your extra decision pick. Now to the bottom of that, with caveat, for those that did make their picks, really decided I'm gonna have a shit week before the Grand Prix fucking starts, so I'll roll my dick out and slam on it a couple times, so I remind myself not to do it during the Grand Prix. And you know, but to everybody's credit, anybody who did get their picks in was at least 500 or better. So we 50% or better. Those are good fucking odds. You didn't lose any money, you didn't make any if you have 50%, but you know, if you go in, this is also something that is great about Tapology. You can go and look at any of our profiles, and it's going to tell you our pick percentage over our lifetime of picking through all of our events. And now that also includes if we're making picks for Bellator or anything else. That all goes into your win-loss ratio, because that's just the way it works. Right? I started with multiples that I was picking at once, and then I was like, you know what? I'm only covering the UFC portion of this, so I'm only going to do the UFC picks. It makes my life a lot easier, and I don't have to fucking think so much on all of that. So, with that being said, we're not going to give you any fucking days of what's going on for for next week. You're going to have UFC Fight Night this weekend, and then the last weekend of the event for the Spring Grand Prix is going to be Saturday, April 12th, which is UFC 314 in Miami. So, good solid 8 weeks cards there, which is going to be fucking great. And just know that every pick will count for the next 8 weeks. If you're in it or getting in it at the last minute, that's great to know. Right now, we have increased the number of players in the Grand Prix, which is fucking great. We went from, I think we had, what, 6 last month? We're at 7 right now. And we still got, by the looks of it, we've got 5 open slots. So anybody who wants to get in, get in. Time is of the essence. Oh, with all that being said here, I want to let everybody know. I don't know if BetMGM is doing fucking booking on UFC anymore because I have not been able to find any of their shit lately. So we're going with Caesars again. Just so that way everybody knows for this weekend. Surprisingly enough, we're about 50-50 on coin flips versus some odds that are a little bit wider on this card. So I'm going to cover about a little less than half of the card on the things that are semi-wide. First one I'm going to start with this week for a wider bit of odds is we're going to go Danny Barlow and Sam Patterson. Fight we were talking about earlier. They got Danny Barlow coming in as a fucking minus 320. Again, anybody can knock out a T-Rex. Sam Patterson sitting at a plus 250 underdog. So it's a little bit of a wider odds, not super wide, but they're there. Here's a fun one for you. Got Esteban Ribovic and Nasrat Hakpras. Jesus fucking Christ, I can't talk. Obviously, 4.5 hours of sleep is not doing it for me. They've got Ribovic coming in as a minus 265 favorite over Hakpras in a plus 215 underdog. Not super wide, but it's a little bit there. Next one do is Douglas Silva de Andrade and John Castaneda. They've got Castaneda coming in as a minus 320 favorite over Silva de Andrade as a plus 250 underdog. Not super wide odds, but they're there. And another fighter that was called out here, Chepe Mariscal and Ricardo Ramos. Mariscal coming in as a minus 450 favorite over Ramos in a plus 350 underdog. Good bit wider there. Here's one to nobody's surprise. The premier prelim. Austin Lane and Mario Pinto. They got Pinto coming in as a minus 550 favorite over Austin Lane as a plus 400 underdog. Those odds are right where they fucking deserve to be. Because, to be honest, he's a fucking can. Period. All right. Now, on to the co-main and main, because that was the widest odds on the card was the Austin Lane and Mario Patino fight. Co-main, Cody Brundage and the Cuban Missile Crisis. Pretty close to a goddamn coin flip. They've got the Cuban Missile Crisis and Julian Marquez coming in as a minus 120 favorite over Cody Brundage as a plus 100 underdog. It's basically a pick'em situation. And for reasons that are still unknown to me in the main event, they got Ombayev and fucking douchebag Cap. I can't say Cap. Cape. I can't say Cop either because it's too close to a dear friend that we've lost, and I just don't want to fucking do that. Douchebag McGee coming in as a minus 220 favorite. Ombayev, a plus 180 underdog. To be honest, I think those odds are a lot wider than they should be. To the bookies' credits, though, Ombayev hasn't broken into the top 10 yet, and he's still rising, so they tend to not look quite as highly unless there's a huge hype train behind him. And unfortunately, Ombayev doesn't have that huge hype train. He's not a Bo Nickel, so he doesn't have that huge hype train. So, those are your odds for this week. Again, this was through Caesars, so if you look somewhere else, whether it's DraftKings, FanDuel, fucking wherever, your odds may vary slightly. They'll probably be pretty close. It's very rare that you see odds go the complete opposite direction in places. So know that what we're giving you is pretty close to where everything else is going to be. And if you're not sure on odds, that's fine. You don't have to bet, but it also is a good little pointer of going, hey, maybe I'll put this in my brain when I think about putting my picks in for the week, because a lot of the times the odds are pretty close to spot on. There's some times where we'll call them out and say, hey, I don't quite think so. But, that's for the most part. Also, time's fucking ticking. It is Thursday night quarter after fucking 10 Central Time. You have till Saturday to get over to Tapology, join the ImNoBookie group, and then we'll get you into this spring Grand Prix. Just let us know who you are, and we'll get that invite out. Or, as you said before, just go over to the ImNoJo Discord and click on the link wherever that is in there. I don't do Discord, so I wouldn't know. I don't do social media very much at all. So there you go. There are links out there available to you.
Much appreciated. So, with that being said, that is all we have got for this particular episode. So, if you are new around here, we do the show pretty much every Thursday when there are fights to talk about it. We generally try to go live around 9 p.m. Central Standard Time here on youtube.com/@ImNoJo. If you cannot make it when we go live, we do leave the video replay up for you to watch at your convenience. If you choose not to, I understand. I also own mirrors. And for that very reason, the week after we go live, we put the broadcast up in all audio format at anchor.fm/ImNoJo. You can pick it up to your podcast consumption platform of choice, Google, Spotify, Apple, you name it. We are everywhere. That being said, if you enjoy what we get up to around here, patreon.com/ImNoJo for as little as $1 a month. You can help us do what we do around here. If you're not aware, I literally spend hours every single week hunting down every single story I feel is relevant, hunting down fight announcements and fight cancellations, and verifying everything. Anything you hear me tell you in the news segment, you can guarantee I have at least verified with 2 different credible sources. I spend hours every week making sure the news that I bring you folks is accurate and authentic. Chris spends hours every week looking through the new kids that he brings us to tell you the kids that are worth knowing about, not just the newest names. TJ spends hours every year looking at the odds for the ridiculous fights that we talk to you guys about to make sure that you know which ones are actually worth risking your money on and which ones you should just laugh at when somebody blows their parlay through it. We do legitimate work, even if you just see us for an hour a week. So to help us do what we do, little as $1 a month can do that. If you do choose to help us do what we do around here, first and foremost, we appreciate you very much. You don't have to, but if you do, we appreciate you. For as little as that $1 a month, first and foremost, we give you unrestricted access to all of the unaired and the behind the scenes shenanigans that go on here on the ImNoJo podcast. That's only for the people that help us do that. But the best thing, in my opinion, here is at the end of every fucking broadcast on this channel, we run your name to let everyone know how badass you are in helping us do what we do. The other side of that coin, if you can't or don't feel like helping, you don't have to. We do the show pretty much every week for free, and you can pick it up any one of the places that I just showed you. All I ask is that if you do enjoy what we get up to around here, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your notifications are turned on wherever you are picking this up, and give us a thumbs up if you like it. It really does help. On the other side of that coin, though, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast you didn't enjoy? Give it a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, when we wrap up shop around here, that's not the end of the fun, because tomorrow morning and pretty much every Friday, this gentleman, he's over there. That gentleman over there and his other half drop their podcasts, the Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, over there on Spreaker.com. You can go over, catch the link down below, catch their social medias, as well as their very own channel over in the ImNoJo Discord, all down below. Hit them all up and tell them how awesome they are.
Appreciate you, brother. The fun never fucking stops. If you missed it on fucking hump day, make sure you tune in again next fucking hump day. Tune into the Brother Golf T Vapes YouTube channel. Tune into that foggy fairway around 9 fucking Central Time or so, 9:30 every fucking Wednesday night. And make sure you hop in, show the brother some love. If you're into the vapes, you want to learn some new recipes, mixes, and shit, definitely check it out. Everything else the brother does should be down in the description below. Make sure you show him some love.
Thanks, sir. Now, after you've checked out everybody's stuff there and signed up for Tapology, you're probably going to have some time to burn. So what I would suggest doing is learning all of the many things that the meter does do by going down below and clicking on Linktree/ImNoJoe or Linktree/The Meter Does Many Things. Maybe join the Discord. Like I said, I'm not in there, so you don't have to worry about me talking shit to you in Discord. So you got a winner there. But you can follow all of the many things that the Meter Does do through any of those platforms. And that'll definitely take up some of your time where you're going, what am I supposed to do with my hands? Click on the next video.
Absolutely. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. So yeah, if you are interested, I do have another channel, my secondary channel here. We get up to all sorts of devil's lettuce shenaniganry here. There is a video dropped on the 1st and the 15th of every month. And then the following Saturday, there's a nice quality 4K slow-mo melt shot for said video uploaded as well. So there's plenty to be had, plenty to keep yourself occupied in the links down below. That being said, this is the time of year that this gentleman over here, wait, no, he's over there. There we go. This gentleman over there runs a little fundraiser. We raise money to help kids in need get new bikes for Easter. We've done it for a couple years now, and we've consistently made sure that some kids that need it get some bikes they well deserved for Easter. We're doing it again this year. The links for all of that will be down in the description as well. If you can help us out with that, we would greatly fucking appreciate it. And so would those kids. If you can't help out with that, I understand. Just share the information for us. That's all we ask, so that we can do as much for these kids as we possibly can. We've always got something going. We're always trying to help somebody. So always keep an eye out down in the links below. We appreciate all the help you give us. That being said, that's all we've got for this particular episode. So until next time, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh.